1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so
Can't even do this.
that's not that. Yeah, that's not. Whatever.
Back in the '80s, we were really good at that.
It's true. He and I were actually. We were black men in the '80s.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
We wore luchador masks. But
You couldn't tell, but
yeah, you couldn't tell.
yeah, it was very confusing. It was an odd time.
Well, we're here obviously with Eric Gottesman.
Hello.
Who is also, I've deemed the Cameo King for most everything, not just Kinetic. But Eric is a part of many projects, as you already know. One of which just put out a new album.
It's actually an EP. It's
My bad.
Everything Goes Cold, and we just put out. That's my band.
Yeah.
I play in a lot of other bands, but they're not my band. That's my band. Is Everything Goes Cold. We just put out a new EP on Metropolis. It's called The Tyrant's Son. It is. I'm really happy with it. It's. If you're familiar with our older stuff is a little bit lighter and a little bit more humor oriented. The Tyrant's Son is taking a little bit of a darker turn, and it's but not like in a cheesy way. Well, okay, in a little bit of a cheesy way. We're not exactly. The Blue Dangle guys are right over there. And I'll admit, it's basically a CD full of Blue Dangle covers.
Okay.
That's not true at all. I did have a pretty funny conversation with Chris Pohl earlier, but that is not true. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that new CD is out. I'm really excited about it. Some of you may have seen we did a Kickstarter for it because we did some like extra fancy packaging. And if you missed out on the Kickstarter, buy the CD now, and you can get the extra packaging separate from us, cheap, on the tour that we're about to do with Caustic. We're doing just the West Coast for now, but that kicks off on July 26th. I don't know all the dates offhand, but we're doing Las Vegas, Phoenix, Los Angeles, and the Los Angeles date is at Complex, which is Rev John of Das Bunker's new venue. Very excited about that. A lot of awesome shows coming up there that you should definitely check out the Complex Facebook page, which you can find, from Das Bunker or whatever. Awesome events coming up. They've got a continued show coming up. They've got Suicide Commando doing the all vintage show. They've got a lot of amazing things. Anyway, so we're doing that. San Francisco, of course, where I'm from. Portland, Seattle, Spokane, Washington, where I've never been. That should be interesting. And I think that's it.
Well, I know that you've been very active in the scene for quite a while now.
True.
You had some roots, obviously, with one of your first bands, which, forgive me, I can't actually. I was talking to Brian about it earlier. But,
yeah.
And that kicked it off, and then you went into...
Wait, what band were you talking about?
Don't do this to me.
What band? I'm not going to be offended. Are you going to mispronounce it?
Caps lock, but I can't remember.
That's all right. C:/.
C:/.
Yeah.
Thank you. My bad. But anyway, recently you've been doing a lot of work with a lot of other people at the Kinetic Festival in particular.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about how that all came about?
So actually, it's funny you say that because I normally a lot of people have probably seen me with a bunch of bands over the years, but I actually had kind of toned down doing the guesting in other people's bands because I wanted to really concentrate on Everything Goes Cold.
Sure.
We had a great year last year. We did that tour with Aesthetic Perfection and Faderhead. We played here at Kinetic last year. That was a great time. And, we got the CD out, but... Kinetic was coming up, and I looked at the lineup, and I'm like, wait, shit, I'm not playing in any of these bands. I got to do something about that.
How do I do this?
Yeah. Well, it's weird because this is the fourth year I've been to Kinetic, and every year I've played in multiple bands here. But years ago, when I was in Cyclone 9, we played Wave Gothic Treffen, and we played one night. Grendel was playing the next night, and Yost from Grendel came up to me after the Cyclone show, and we were just hanging out. And he was like, oh, hey, why don't you come, play bass on a couple songs for Grendel? And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. So, I learned, we played, Zombie Nation and a couple other things. And, I just guested on a couple songs. It was an awesome lineup. The Grendel that night was it was me for a couple songs, Yost, of course, and then Daniel Graves from Aesthetic and Marco from XP8 and Faderhead. And then last time Grendel played Kinetic, which was, 2 years ago, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
Same thing. We were hanging out, and he was like, oh, why don't you come play bass for a couple songs? So I saw the lineup, and I was like, this time I'm just going to call him ahead of time, get the whole set list, and actually learn the songs. So so we did that, and this is one of the most fun, one of the most awesome gigs that I've played in somebody else's band in like ever. I had such a good time, and
memorable moments in all of that.
Oh yeah,
especially I really was really into the whole hyper thing. If you guys haven't heard, there will be a video up detailing all of that.
That was an adventure. I didn't. So the hyper thing. In brief, for people who don't know about this, there's sort of been this running gag between a lot of the people at Kinetic that the band that everybody wants to get here is Scooter, which is, I'm not even going to explain Scooter, you can just look it up, but that's not possible. But I guess JF decided he was just going to get some of the regulars to put together a Scooter cover band, and anyway, I actually wasn't even involved in that until like 2 days ago. I'm hanging out with Rex Arcana, and he's like, hey, do you know the Scooter song Maria, I Like It Loud? And I'm like, no. And he says, well, do you think you could learn it? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. And he's like, well, because the second verse, I can't remember the lyrics, so can you learn the lyrics like right now, sing the song? And it's funny. So first, then another thing happened. I wound up playing bass for 2 other tracks that I hadn't even heard the tracks before. Last minute we just figured out the key, and I was like, I'll do it by ear. Fortunately, I actually am pretty good at doing that, and it came out pretty well. But so we got up there, and it's funny when Maria I Like It Loud came on, we were doing that. We're out there, and it's and like Daniel Meyer had already been out there, and Yos had been out there, and Rex and. Rex and Dracos, of course, and Pete Crane from Shivar was helping out on keys, and
sudden too.
Yeah, it was, but it was just all cool, and I was like rocking out, and having a good time, and then I go, I pick up the mic, and my part's coming up, and I look over to the side, and I'm like singing on stage with Andy LaFlegua, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, like that's actually like, because I have a huge amount of respect for him as a front man. He is the best, and I was just like, I panicked for a minute, I boned all my lyrics. I spent all day learning them. I can do the whole thing right now. I ritz bits for the hits with the lyrics, with the robotic. Anyway, so I boned that a little bit, but
that was actually, it's nice to see. It seems like Rex tends to bring a lot of that together, and you too as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to see everybody out there on stage and just having a good time.
Yeah, it was a really good time. Yeah, it was. I mean, I take it really seriously when we do, all of these little guest things I do. I put a lot of, I put more work into it than I think a lot of people think that I might. So, and everybody who knows me, on the internet or whatever probably knows I'm pretty hardcore about. I never fake anything. I'm never turned off. I know what I'm doing. Might be playing easy parts sometimes, but
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just good. It seems like you just kind of like float around with all the whole thing.
Yeah.
So. And it'd be a part of Kinetic no matter what. It's just fucking amazing.
Also, I gotta give a shout out to the Gottesman.
Oh yeah.
That was also super. I did a couple songs on bass with them. That was super fun. Brian and Mike are 2 of my best friends, so I was really, really excited to do that. That was an amazing show.
And just right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah,
I'm the fat one in that band. That's the only thing. I'm like, it's a little uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, so have you thought about doing any other projects actually, like something that's just separate, completely different? I don't know.
Actually, kind of. I've had this thing I've been kind of toying with for a while. It's a little weird. I have no problem talking about it publicly because it's just me. It doesn't affect anybody else. But so in COMA days, we used to do all these like acoustic versions of industrial songs, and they were mostly jokes, but they were a lot of fun. And the last thing that we did together in COMA was we did a serious one, which was we covered Spawn Ranch's Heretic's Fork. And it was really great. It's one of my favorite things that I've ever done. And so I've been kind of thinking, God, it'd be nice to do some of those again, but just do it seriously with songs that I really care about. And I've been kind of trying to get that together, but I'm not. It had been a long time, so I got to give myself a little while to see if I can work back up to remembering how to do that well.
Getting back, no.
Yeah, speaking of which, Beborn Beton is about to go on, and we did an acoustic cover back in the day of Another World by Beborn Beton. Yeah, if you get the COMA disc, it's up on iTunes and CD Baby or whatever, and it was self-released, but you can get it. And we did that. Beborn Beton are the only band we ever did an acoustic cover of that haven't heard it. So I was telling him about it earlier. I forgot. I spaced. I was going to bring him a CD. I didn't, but
perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
definitely hear it. And they're going to be down on the stage tonight, I guess.
Yeah, they're going on next, actually. So I'm excited about that. And been some amazing bands this year. How Job?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, fucking amazing.
36-hour trip.
After a horrible ordeal, yeah.
Hotel or something.
Yeah. Yeah, How Job were amazing. Shiver were really amazing. They were one of those bands, I'm into them. They were in my top 10 last year. That last album is great, but wasn't sure if the show was going to pull it off.
Sure.
Totally did. It was very theatrical. A lot of presence, a lot of cool stuff going on. That was cool. Obviously, everybody's been talking about the Adversary thing. That's cool. And
more outside of the festival.
Oh, we've all been talking about it here too.
Yeah.
I did think that we should. I wanted to note, because some people don't realize this. These people don't have personal problems with each other, even if they disagree. In fact, we had an after party in my hotel room last night, and you were there.
Yeah.
And Thomas was hanging out, and Jairus was hanging out, and we were all having a good time. And it's Jairus doesn't think that Thomas from Nochmar is actually like a bad guy, or that he personally is a racist, but he thinks that the imagery that he uses and whatnot, supports that, and that bothers him. And I know that JF, who runs the festival, had posted to the Kinetic group that he said, we didn't know that Jairus was going to do this, and it was a lot of people have been saying that it was not cool for Jairus to do that, but actually I think that it was a really good way to get the conversation started, and it wasn't. It was a little bit overly forward. I might even go so far as to say a little bit rude.
Yeah.
But, if you've all read the I Die, You Die interview pieces about it, which are great.
I love those guys.
Everybody it started, I think, a pretty good discussion. And, whatever side of the debate you're on, I think we can all agree that these are basically cool people, even if you don't like what they're doing.
Because I've seen them hanging out and totally cool.
These guys, and I mean, I know all these guys. I love all these guys, and Jairus and I get into arguments about this a lot, but it's cool. Jairus did an amazing remix for me with it was Adversary versus Cyanotic remixing Everything Goes Cold, which is on.
Oh wow.
That's on. Yeah, it's a great mix too. It's on the Bitright Records Gears Gone Wild Spring Break Edition.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think that's a free download actually. If you go to the Bitright site.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
As soon as I get a chance,
Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool. Well, I mean, what other things do you think this night or this whole festival has brought? What other?
Let's see. Well, I mean, this is actually it's been. This was lower pressure for me certainly than last year, because last year I was managing my own band. Everything Goes Cold, so
yeah.
So I've had more time to just sit around and have fun, hang out with everybody. What else is going on this year that's been really cool? A lot of great bands, a lot of great people. Definitely some people that usually come that didn't make it out this year, but also a lot of people that I haven't seen for a couple of years that made it out, and that's been cool. Met a lot of new people that are really cool.
Yeah, it seems like a family reunion.
It always does, yeah. So yeah, it's been a great festival, and I can't wait to see what happens for next year. So yeah, if you haven't been, you are very foolish.
Yeah, you should definitely.
And I'm very disappointed in you.
More Americans should come out, I think.
Yeah, well, we got a good population. Wherever you live, if you're in the scene, you probably know some people who have been coming. But yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, you're going to be doing the tour with Caustic.
Yes.
I know you guys have a pretty good relationship and friendship. And
yeah, Matt's a very good friend of mine, and he's definitely been a major influence for how I operate business-wise.
Sure.
Because he really knows what he's doing, and he does really good stuff.
Yeah, he seems to be a very genuine.
Yeah, great guy.
Was there anything you would like to tell him?
Oh, I did want to mention the weird secret code in our new release. If you have the Tyrant Sun, if you look in the liner notes, digital as well as physical, they're both there. Look at the lyrics. There are letters hidden in between the regular letters. If you string them all together, and it will say base 64, and then it has a long string. You put that into a base 64 decoder, and it will bring you to a secret website that has a bunch of cool stuff on it, including the final remix ever done by Dvortsow. It's actually the last thing that will ever have the Dvortsow name on it. Jim Barkas has gone on to do Go Fight, which is awesome and weird, and it's... Yeah, you got to check it out.
Original.
But Dvortsow is one of my favorite bands. They've been a huge influence, so that's really exciting. If you have problems with that, there's another workaround to finding the code, which is if you get a CD text reader and you've got the physical CD, you can get it that way. But Yeah, but so I hope people are getting that because it's awesome. But yeah, but I made it a little bit difficult this time, so I know I'm trying to tell people about it. Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. It was great to do an interview with you. So
I found it generally acceptable. I'm not joking.